Hi everyone, welcome to the Practice and Master Excel YouTube channel. Today we'll be talking about XLOOKUP. In today's video, we will define XLOOKUP. We would also understand the XLOOKUP function. Then we will go through some real-world examples from simple to intermediate and then advanced. Then at the end of this video, there will be a practice file with different exercises that you can practice in your free time. So I would really encourage you to, practice the exercises on this file because it will challenge you and to help you to really understand and master XLOOKUP. Let's get right into the video. XLOOKUP is one of Excel's lookup functions and it's used to find data in a table. For people familiar with VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP, you would love XLOOKUP because XLOOKUP performs the same function as both VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP, except that it's also more flexible and it also has more parameters. Also, it eliminates some of the limitations that are associated with VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP as well. So now let's look at the XLOOKUP function. So the XLOOKUP function consists of 6 parameters. The first 3 parameters, which are the lookup value, the lookup array, and the return array, are required, but the last 3 parameters, which are if not found, match mode, and search mode, are optional. So now let's look at an example, and then based on the example, we would explain all the parameters in the XLOOKUP function. This worksheet has student information such as the student ID, the first name, last name, age, grade, and the result date. Now I want to find the grade of a student with ID of 201. We'll use the XLOOKUP function to get this. So now building the function equal to XLOOKUP. The lookup value is the value that we're searching for, which is 201 in this case, comma. The lookup array is the column range that contains the value that we're searching for. So in this case, it's the student ID, comma. The return array is the value that we want to get, which is the value that we want to return. And in this case, it's the grade. So we click on that range. Yes, and then we get the grade. So if we look at the table, the student ID 201 has a grade A. So in this example, we return only one column, but one thing that XLOOKUP can do is to return multiple columns, as we're going to see in this next example. So assuming now that we know this ID, which is 201, and we want to return the first name, last name, age, and grade of the student with ID 201. Now guys, we only need to write one formula for this, and we would write that formula here in the first name. Write the formula here. So let's build the formula equal to XLOOKUP. So the lookup value is still the same 201, comma, the lookup array, student ID, comma, the return array would be all the columns that we want to return. So in this case, first name, last name, age, and grade. We select everything and then close the bracket, enter. As you can see, XLOOKUP automatically fills in all these values, all of these values, and this is because we have selected the range here in the return array. Enter. Let's look at another example. Now in this case, we want to return the full name, which is the first name and last name, as 1 for the following IDs, for IDs with 301, for ID 301 and 701. So now how do we do this? Let's build the formula. So equal to XLOOKUP, the lookup value 301, comma, lookup array, which is the student ID, comma, the return array. Now this is where we actually build the formula. So now I want to return both the first name and the last name. Now what we can do is that we can return both columns, both ranges, and then concatenate those values to get the values together. So we then do first name and, which is the concatenation operator, and the last name. Close the bracket, enter. So this gives us both the first name and last name together. We can also add in a space so that it looks better. So I can concatenate a space in there. Yes, and now there is a space. So now you have the first name and the last name as one value. So in these examples, we only use the first three parameters. Now, for the next examples, we would go a bit more advanced. This example, we want to find the grade of a student with ID 533. So we write a XLOOKUP function as usual. So this, comma, lookup array, comma, the grade. Now in this case, we have an error message. Why? Because 533, the ID of 533 is not present in here in the student ID. Now, if we don't want this error message, we can introduce the fourth parameter, which is if not found. So what this means is that we can set a custom message if the search value is not found. So in this case, let's say we can set a custom message as not found. And we have that. What this means is that whenever the XLOOKUP goes into the data and does not find the search value, then we would always get the custom message not found. Let's look at another example. Let's say we want to find the last name of the student that is 12 years old. So in this case, we build the formula XLOOKUP. Lookup value is 12, comma, the lookup array now would be the age, because this is where XLOOKUP would search for the age of the student, comma. We want to return the last name, so then the last name becomes the return array, enter. So in this case, we have an error message. Why? This is because 12 is not in here. There is no 12 here, so XLOOKUP is returning an error message. So we could set the error message to 0. That means in this case, we would then have 0. Now we could also do more with this. We can also tell XLOOKUP that if you don't find the search value, give me the match of the next larger value, which would be age of 13 in this case, or give me the match of the next smaller value, which would be an age of 11 in this case. So now this is where the fifth parameter comes in, which is the match mode. So if we edit our formula, comma, we can see the match mode takes in four values, one of 4 values. So it could be the exact match, which is the default, or it could be -1, which means give me the match of the next smaller value. In this example, the next smaller value, the next smaller age is 11. So if we put -1 in here, we get the match of the student that is 11 years old, which is Kim. Now back to the formula. So 1 here means, okay, if you don't find 12, give me the match of the next larger value that is in the data. So in this case, the next larger value, the next larger age is 13, because after 12, you have 13, and that is the next larger value in the data. So then if we put 1, we get the match for 13, which is Daniel's in this case. So guys, this is how the fifth parameter works. So This is also where the flexibility of XLOOKUP comes in, because you can set all these rules to tell XLOOKUP, how to search for your data. Let's look at another example. So in this example, we want to find the last name where the first name contains OH. So here we're going to use wildcards. So wildcards are used when we want to find spatial matches in like text. For instance, in this case, we're looking for OH in the first name. I can already see that there is OH in John. So let's see if our XLOOKUP will tell us that. So now let's build the formula. Equal to XLOOKUP. So the wildcard would be in the lookup value. So that will be star and a value and star. Yes, comma. Now the lookup array is where we're searching for it, which is the first name in this case. The return array in this case is the last name. Press enter. Oh, so now we have an error. So I'll tell you why we have an error. So when it comes to using wildcards in lookup value, there is something that is required, which is that the match mode has to be 2. So you can say in this case, 2 is the wildcard character match. The fifth parameter, which is the last mode, has to be included and it must be 2. That was our mistake. So now, perfect. So now we have 2 and we have our value, which is me. As you can see here, we can confirm that, the first name John contains Smith. I know in this case, XLOOKUP is giving us the first match, because if we look at the first name, we can see that there is another John here that with the last name of Kim. So why didn't we get this instead? This is because XLOOKUP gives us the first match. Now guys, we can change that as well, and this is where the 6th parameter comes in. 6th and the final parameter, which is the search mode. Based on the search mode, we can tell XLOOKUP where to start searching for. So in where to start searching from. So in this case, 1 is like the default value, which means start searching from the beginning of the table, like the first row of the table till the end. Then if we go with -1, it means that we're telling XLOOKUP to start searching from the end of the table, which is from 901 up to the beginning of the table. So now let's do that and see how this result changes. So if we go with -1, enter. Now we have the last name of marker. And why is that? Because XLOOKUP now searches from the end of the table and then it goes up. And then this is the first match that it finds that has OH contained in the first name. And then it returns the last name, which is marker in this case. So this speaks to the flexibility of XLOOKUP, where you can set the search mode, you can set the match mode, and also the error message as well. Okay, so we are down to our last example. So here I have a table with some clothing like trousers, skirts, dress, and men's shoes. And then I also have the sizes like small, medium, and large. Now in here, I have like the size in inches. So in this case, 36 is the size in inches for a small trouser. 28 is the size in inches for a medium skirt. So now we want to find the size in inches for a medium-sized dress. And we want to build a dynamic formula such that if we replace dress with maybe trousers, or we replace size with small, we still get the corresponding size in inches. Now, for this formula, we're going to have two XLOOKUP functions. The first function would be to find the the clothing, which is dress in this case, and the second XLOOKUP would be to find the size, which is medium in this case. So now let's build the function. So it's equal to XLOOKUP. Lookup value is the dress, which is our first lookup. Then the lookup array is in here because this is where the dress is, comma. Now the return array would be our second XLOOKUP function. So we go again, equal to XLOOKUP. The lookup value would be the size. In this case, our lookup value is in column D11, comma. The lookup array is here because this is where the sizes are, medium. It's right here, comma. Then the return array is the rest of the data, basically the table data. And then we close the bracket and, oh, I missed one bracket. Yes, and this is what we have right here. So as we can see, medium and dress will give us, we have the data in the intersection. So the size in inches of a medium sized dress is 10. So now let's change dress to, say, trousers. Enter. We say that the size in inches changes to the size of a medium trouser. Let's change size to large. And then we get the size in inches of a large trousers. Thank you for staying till the end of this video. So like I said earlier, there is in the description, you find the link to download the practice file. So I have it open here in the sheet named exercise. You will see some tables and then you'll see some instructions, and then you ought to, try to build the XLOOKUP functions and answer the questions. The boxes that have type function here, that's where you should, answer the questions. That's where you should type in the functions. And then up here, you will see the score. So when you get the questions, it would score you and then show you the ones, and then show you, how many questions that you've gotten so far. Then down here as well, I also have a table for you to build the XLOOKUP function from this table. So read the instructions so that you can understand what you need to do. You can also click on the column headers for hints and, more instructions. And down here as well, you type the functions, build the functions in here. So the solutions file would also be linked in the description box below. I encourage you to, download this and try to practice it. That way you'll be able to really understand and, master XLOOKUP. So guys, we've come to the end of this video. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much. Bye.